What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. This is Dyad Reacts. Now, there's been rumors going around about Sabine Wren being part of the Ahsoka show. We'll talk about these rumors and possibly show you our picks for who should be cast in this role. But, as always, this is Dyad Reacts. Hello, so Sabine Wren in Ahsoka. The rumor mill is a buzz.
It's kicking for sure. I mean, my favorite character from Rebels.
Mine too.
Wasn't a huge fan at the beginning, but she really came out in season 3 and 4. She came to play in Trials of the Darksaber. Incredible stuff. I can't wait to see her in live action. I think it'd be amazing.
Yeah, she was my favorite in Rebels, and I think she is my all-time favorite in terms of non-Force users. Sorry, Theron. So we have some articles here from Hollywood Reporter and from Collider, who it says Lucasfilm reportedly looking to cast live-action Sabine Wren. Let me bring up the browser for us. Yoink, yoink. So there's not really any confirmation in terms of them actually casting a Sabine Wren. It's just kind of speculative on a report on Marvel's What If, right?
Yeah. So I jumped into it and I looked up, because this is referencing a Hollywood Reporter interview, and that Hollywood Reporter interview is all about What If, and they're talking about different characters and whether or not characters that are created for What If could potentially make a jump into the large screen. So basically throughout the course of this interview, they talk about and say, you know, right now What If is going to be focusing on characters that we've already seen on screen, but it's not unusual for characters to start in animation and end up in real life. And then they use Harley Quinn, who started in the 90s in Batman the Animated Series before becoming part of live action and part of the comics as well. And then they mention Ahsoka, who was animated in 2008, finally made the leap onto the big screen in Mandalorian Season 2, and now is getting her own show with Rosario Dawson. And then they mentioned that Disney is looking to cast Sabine Wren, basically saying that Sabine is going to be another character who's going to start out in animation and then jump onto the live screen, which I'm hoping for. But the rumors seem kind of thin. But I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that they are going to be casting for. We've speculated that this was actually the casting news that people were saying was for. What's the character's name? The one that framed her.
What?
Barriss Offee.
Yes.
It always slips my mind. But yeah, the casting for Barriss Offee, a lot of people were speculating was actually casting for Sabine.
Oh yeah, that was one of the things that I also pointed to when that rumor also started, because like, for all intents and purposes, whether this be official confirmation or rumor, it makes narrative sense. Like, Ahsoka ends season 4 of Rebels with Sabine, so we can't, with this show Ahsoka taking place around the time of Mandalorian, which is about 4 or 5 years after Rebels, you won't be able to find yourself far from Sabine. And so, as I said, whether this be a rumor or not, it just makes narrative sense that Sabine is in the show to begin with. So I'm treating this report as a rumor, but I'm also treating the fact that Sabine will be in Ahsoka as an eventuality. She's going to be in the show. So I wanted to go through the exercise of possibly giving our picks. Now I know that this is,
I have a front runner.
Yeah. Following this report, though, there is another rumor going around about the front runners that they've reportedly honed in on to play Sabine. And let's see here. By Comic Book Movie, let's bring up the browser again. By Comic Book Movie, it says that according to a report by... Now, see, this article is already misleading. It says we got confirmation that Lucasfilm. Confirmation from Lucasfilm or that Lucasfilm? And who's the confirmation? Anyway, we have Jordan Mazin, who is a solid source for scoops, I guess, on Twitter, saying that the frontrunners for Sabine Wren is down to Lana Condor and Tati Gabrielle. And I'm not opposed to either of these.
I'm not opposed, but I'm not for either.
That's true, but I'm at the same time though, as I look at Tati Gabrielle, I feel like she's a better fit for Ketsu. And yeah, now that I look at these pictures beside each other, I'm just like Sabine and Ketsu. With Lana Condor obviously being Sabine in this scenario, but that I don't know. We have our picks for Sabine. I'm gonna go on the record and say Tati Gabrielle I think should play Ketsu, but let's go and who is your pick for Sabine?
I mean, you already know who my pick is.
Yes.
It's just Jessica Henwick. For multiple reasons. Jessica Henwick has the look, the acting ability, the martial arts background. That she would be great with any sort of weapon or doing any sort of action sequence. It would flow and look natural. Plus, we could be like a little Daughters of the Dragon reunion. If you watched Marvel Netflix stuff, we know her and Rosario Dawson already have a great relationship. That's my pick. I would love to see it.
I mean,
she was actually on the short list to play Rey back in the day before.
She played a doomed pilot in the Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. I mean, just looking at these photos of her in this getup or in this do, like, boom, boom. These are all Sabine. Like,
yeah, that's my Sabine.
Yeah. I mean, this is like season 1, 2, 3 Sabine, and then this one is like 4. You know, she just turns her kind of pixie cut into like a slicked back type of homage to Ezra Bridger.
Yeah, I think that's the go-to. I've seen some people say they want Tia Sircar to come back and play her in live action, the voice actor behind it. Which,
I mean, at first glance, I don't see it. Now, like, you know, when we talk about Thrawn and Lars Mikkelsen, he's a dead ringer, and he's the voice, so it makes sense. But some voice actors, like Ashley Eckstein, don't translate to an Ahsoka as much as we love her as the voice of Ahsoka.
And not to the physicality and all that stuff. Yeah, I completely agree. Same, I mean, the voice actor for like Omega, it would be an odd choice for a live action Omega. It just happens, you know?
Yeah.
I don't need to see D. Bradley Baker be a clone.
and so Ahsoka takes place 4 or 5 years after Rebels. I do have another pick that I was going with from Teen Wolf, Arden Cho. She has experience using a katana, and that would kind of transfer over to the Darksaber. She just has a look to her that, first of all, she's beautiful. So let's not beat around the bush around that. But I feel like she could play Sabine, She's the perfect age. Sabine would be 24 at the end of Rebels, 28 by Ahsoka. So, these are our picks right here. Jessica Henwick and Arden Cho.
I have seen a lot of people say Naomi Scott.
Naomi Scott,
and in certain scenes and certain lights, I definitely see it. But overall, I think it'd be weird if our live action
if our live action Ezra and Sabine were Aladdin and Jasmine.
I think that would, I don't know, that'd make me feel funny.
Is that two in the pocket?
I mean, yeah, it would end that whole debate on whether or not to ship them. I don't.
That's true. Now, I did ship them when they were younger, when they were both 15, 16, 17 in season 1 and 2. They were having that playful kind of I've got a crush on the older girl type of, dynamic. But as they got older, I felt like they became brother and sister more, especially when they were confiding in each other in season 4 with Trials of the Darksaber, and they were both, kind of entrenched in this backstory or this history, this personal history that is, very tragic. So I agree that I see more Sabine and Ketsu. I have more romantic chemistry vibes from them than anything. But I'm gonna
more as like a troubled history, not.
I'm gonna say no to Naomi Scott. A definite yes to Jessica Henwick. A definite yes to Arden Cho. Is that a yes for you for Arden Cho, possibly?
Oh yeah, no, I'm on board. I'm on board with that.
And no objections to Lana Condor. I think she does have the look, but she is kind of young to play 28 years old, unless Arden Cho plays like the 28-year-old, and then Lana, no, that just doesn't work. I love Lana as Jubilee. I thought that they should not have cut out the scene of her doing the fireworks into the arcade machine.
Well, there's just a lot to unpack when it comes to that film. They should have developed any characters other than just Magneto and Professor X and Mystique.
Yeah, definitely.
At any point, so we would care about the other characters.
Those films just should not have revolved around Mystique. But that's another topic for another day and another video, maybe on your channel as you cover Marvel. So really quickly before we wrap up this video, what do you think we're going to see in Ahsoka with Sabine being reportedly cast in it? Obviously, the obvious thing jumps out, right? She's with Ahsoka looking for Ezra. But what do you want to see? Do you think Barriss should be a part of it?
I would love it if they ran into her. I mean, there was an actual interview with Dave Filoni where he specifically stated that she didn't die. That the writers originally wanted her to use the same nanites to blow herself up in her cell, and Dave Filoni was like, no, we're not doing that. Because he had more plans for her. So hopefully we have them run into each other, because I think that would be a really interesting conversation. One of the things that I really want to know is where Ahsoka is at this point in time in her relationship with the Jedi and the Jedi Order. Yes, she left and had disagreements with him, and had the "I'm no Jedi" line fighting Vader when he said, revenge is not the Jedi way. And then after that, she discovered that was her master. The person she was trying to get revenge for was the person she was trying to get it on. And I'm curious if that made things click and made her say, oh crap, all of those things that they were warning us against was that. Yeah. So we didn't turn into that. And so, we see her with Ahsoka Bean's back. We see her no longer saying, I'm no Jedi. We see the episode she was in on Mandalorian called The Jedi. I'm curious if her relationship has changed, and if she ran into Barriss and they had that conversation, what it would mean. Is it yeah, sure, we were fighting, but without us, were things better or worse? Or and I think they would have a really fascinating conversation, because what Barris said wasn't necessarily wrong, but she went about things in the absolute worst way possible. So I don't know that Ahsoka blames her or would try to fight her on the spot, but I would love to see them get a cup of calf together and talk it out.
But I also like that divergence for Ahsoka, right? Because there's a lot of stories after the fact, after in the sequel trilogy era, where she's not existent, right? So there needs to be a divergent path for her narratively to follow, where she is, far removed from the Skywalker saga, and she appears in episode 9 and with a voice, but I feel like they're gonna find Ezra and Thrawn. Stuff narratively happens. I know it's lazy to say that one thing leads to another, but I think
and yada yada yada.
Yeah, but I think in terms of story and in terms of leaving things potentially open for a season 2, even though right now, as of now, it is a limited series, just like Kenobi. I would love for Barris to show up as an extended antagonist, not necessarily a villain, but someone who antagonizes Ahsoka, and there's this kind of conflict that brews over a season. And it kind of boils over to Sabine and Ezra, because Ezra is, for all intents and purposes, a knight. At the very least, I'd say, sacrificing himself to save the ghost crew on Lothal would be tantamount to passing your trials. So I would call him a knight at this point, and it would be interesting, Ahsoka and Barris being both trained under the same kind of dogma, and then Ezra, who is on the outside, and then Sabine, who is also trained by Kanan, but not a Jedi. I just want to see that kind of dynamic play out in that show, and hopefully Ahsoka does that.
I mean, even while you're talking, I'm already planning the video I'm gonna make on this exact subject, because that would just be amazing, because it would, I can see Ezra very much wanting to be a traditional Jedi Knight. But Ahsoka very much seems to be following the path of a Wayseeker, and I could see Barris eventually becoming a saber for hire.
Ooh, so many points to High Republic,
right? But to have, it sounds almost like a joke, like a Jedi Knight, a Wayseeker, and a saber for hire walk into a bar. No, but what you were saying though just makes me think of Marvel's Daredevil and the Punisher, and the conversation that Daredevil and the Punisher have on the roof while they're fighting each other and all this stuff. And I want that with Ahsoka and Ahsoka and Barris. I think that's what we need.
Yeah, I mean that's a perfect analog.
Hire me, Disney.
That's a perfect analog, because this is what I mean. By an antagonist that's not a villain, it's just someone that's foiled, that's a foil to our protagonist in Ahsoka, that creates conflict, that creates issues, morality issues, stuff like that, but isn't necessarily a big bad. So Frank Castle and Daredevil, definitely a great analog to that. But hoping for the best, hoping that a cast is revealed soon. I mean, I know they did confirm Lars Mikkelsen and Mena Massoud as Ezra and Thrawn. They did confirm that. At the very least, Rosario Dawson did. But
added credibility to it. Yes.
Lucasfilm's not going to come out and be like, all right, yeah, that's true. They don't confirm or comment on rumors and speculation, but the story makes sense. Sabine's with Ahsoka at this point. She just wasn't on Corvus. She's an eventuality. She's going to be in the show, and we hope that they make the right pick to cast Sabine. We've got Jessica Henwick, Arden Cho. I'm not opposed to Lana Condor or Tati Gabrielle. Although I will say, if anyone at Lucasfilm is watching, Tati Gabrielle for Ketsu. But yeah, that'll do it for this video. Do you have any final words, final thoughts in terms of this project?
No, just excited, cautiously optimistic. But I think they're gonna kill it. I think Rosario Dawson did a great job, and they're gonna find someone worthy of being opposite her. So let's go.
Let's go indeed. Shout out to our good friend of the channel, Veyray, Daigo Veyray. But of course, that is the end. On to the next one.
For Light and Life,
We are all the Republic.
may the Force be with you.